Hey guys, it's another vinyl update, and this one is a big haul. Sorry about that. A huge haul. So, I just appreciate you guys coming in, whoever checks in. I appreciate it. Um, Channel I've been going now for 2 years, off and on. I've had my highs and lows, but I'm still here. I'm not fucking going anywhere, you know. So, here we go. These are all music pickups from Tampa. I've shown quite a few of these. These are my favorite ones, by far and away my favorite vinyl pickups, because I feel like I get the most value for my money. Lots of budget stuff, but like I think it's quality. So let's just get into it. The first thing I'm going to show you is everything I picked up. Sorry. Wow. I'm really trying not to do a lot of snafus today, but snafus I will be doing. First thing I want to show you is what I picked up from Mojo's Books and Records. A few small odds and ends from Mojo Books and Records. About $40 is what I spent. And I like to talk about how much I spend because I think it's really important. And for some stupid reason, it's important to me. I got 3 CDs, 2 cassettes, a postcard, and a vinyl from Mojo Books and Records. The postcard is Robert Smith. Oh, Robert. And yeah, what's it say? Message and address. I dare tempted to send this to an old friend of mine just to see how she would respond to it, but I don't know. Somebody I'm on the outs with, but maybe I'd like to be friends with again. You know, that's her favorite group. So, 2 cassettes. The first was $2. Rare Earth, Greatest Hits and Rare Classics on the Motown label. Funny that this band was signed to Motown. They're about as far off. I'm going to move this in a little bit. Sorry. They're about as far off as Motown as one could possibly be. But I kind of like these guys. They had an album, I think, called Ma, and they had an album, I forgot the name of the album, but it's got the song called Ma on it, or Mom, and it's super long and fucking rocking, and that's kind of what got me into Rare Earth. And then I heard their live album, which is terrific too. This band has got some balls. So they had the Tower of Power horns, but yet they're like a cross between Tower of Power and Grand Funk. They can rip it, they can groove it, they got some boogie, there's some heaviness in it too. But there's that horn and there's the soulfulness of this band too. So I'm a big fan of Rare Earth. Love this band. And Procol Harum, Greatest Hits on cassette. On some knockoff label, I think this is Neon cassettes. The sign of quality is neon. Yes. Not sure when this was released. Big hits on here: Whiter Shade of Pale, Hamburg, and my favorite song on here, Conquistador. I do like Salty Dog. I do like some of the rockin' tracks that they did, but I'm a big Procol Harum nut anyways. So, yeah, Greatest Hits, Procol Harum. Not sure when this was released. CDs from Mojo's, I got 3 of them. This first one I don't see a lot of. A rare record by For Love Not Lisa, who I believe this band, the record called Merge. I believe this band was on the Crow soundtrack. I believe they were, and they have a gritty kind of alternative sound to them. Not really grungy as, I don't know. It's got kind of a groove to it. I wouldn't even call it like industrial, but there's like something about this band it's very up tempo, almost dance-ish, but not really. I don't know. I think I've heard these guys were compared to like Jane's Addiction. Maybe a little bit, but Jane's Addiction didn't have that kind of, to me, well, they did with songs like Been Caught Stealing, but not really a dance-ish group. And I don't mean dance as in like industrial, but there's something about For Love Not Lisa where like you can put your feet together and boogie a little bit. And I rarely see their stuff in the wild. So the 2 CDs I got they were basically free because I had $10 store credit. So they had a bunch of this artist stuff, and I just went nuts and got the what I wanted. This is Patti Smith with Gung Ho. Now, Patti Smith is an artist to me, and I'll come out and say it, like, she sort of rubs me the wrong way at times. I find her kind of annoying and, like, I don't know, preachy and kind of the, but I do like her. I shouldn't say preachy, kind of like, I don't know, not preachy, but like kind of artsy, where it's like, I know she's not doing it on purpose, that's truly her, but it just comes across as, like, to me, silly or stupid. I'm not big into like poetry. I'm not big into like, and that's just my opinion. But I'm not big into that kind of like shit. And she's like consumed by it. And I love my art, but I'm not like, I'm practical about it. I'm not consumed by it. I mean, I am and I'm not. You're like, there's, to me, there's a practicality to it. So you would never dare see me write like the kind of poetry she writes. One, I'm not as good a writer, and two, I just kind of find it, I don't know, fluffy and silly. I know that's kind of fighting words for some of y'all, and I don't mean it that way. I'm just not a really big Patti Smith fan, but I find myself always buying her CDs. And this is Gung Ho, and this has got a lot of the original members in it, including Lenny Kaye playing in the background. And this came out 2000, and I'm not familiar with this record by her. I don't know what it sounds like, so you know, this record I am familiar with by her, and I've listened to it a lot, is Gone Again, and I like this record. Gone are sort of the artsy pretenses that I'm used to with her, but in comes like a lot of somberness. This is, to me, a grief album. She's got the song about Kurt Cobain on here, about a boy. Lots of songs that seem about dealing with grief. I think, you know, her husband had died in the 80s, and her best friend Robert Mapplethorpe died, great artist. And I'm not sure when he died. Hold on. Yeah. No, that's just the way it's going to have to go. Sorry about the shake there. I'm not sure when Robert Mapplethorpe died, but he did die, and it affected her. And this is, I think, an album of grief by her, an album Isolation. You know, I'm not reading Patti Smith's mind, but I remember really kind of liking this album, it being a little mellowed and subdued. And buying this at a record show years back. Yeah, I mean, she is a great artist, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I just find her to be a little, like, yeah, I don't know, overkill for me. But here's a fine British band, and the old album I picked up from Mojo's. I'll be going there this Friday. I can't wait to go there and pick up more shit. Pop group, and this is Alien Blood. So this one was about $22. Like I said, out the door with $10 store credit, I spent like 40 bucks there, which is about what I normally spend there at Mojo's, because the prices are too high. I look for deals. But anyways, let's get back on track. The pop group, UK group, and so this group was definitely had punk tendencies, but really merged it into a harder kind of, like, to me, post-punk, and then took elements of noise and the elements of avant-garde experimentalism and threw that in for boot. And I suppose you could call this group like a post-punk group, if you want. There's definitely elements of no wave, even though they're from England. They're kind of interesting. They're kind of like a little maybe edgier than like The Fall, who's another experimental sort of post-punk group. They've been drawn to comparisons to Perubu. I don't see it as much, but I mean, there is that noisy experimental thing to them. And I've never owned anything by pop group, and I just figured now would be the time. This is a compilation of demos and unreleased songs, I believe, that came out sometime in the 2000s, I believe. So Alien Blood, pop group. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, so that ends my Mojo's run right there. I think I got pretty quality stuff for what I paid for it. You know, I mean, you know. Cassettes, 2 cassettes, 3 CDs, and a vinyl album for 40 bucks is, you know, you're not going to get it that cheap anyplace else. But let's go ahead and get into the cassettes that I picked up from Steelworker Records, and I got quite a few cassettes, quite a few CDs. I'm going to try to burn through these so I can spend time on the vinyl. I'm going to get a drink of water real quick. Trying to put all this within reaching distance. I got all this stuff spread out. I'm trying to put it in reaching distance so I'm not stretching all over the place. Yeah, got me a Pops. These things are fucking fantastic. Love these things. I've been addicted to these things in club water, club soda. Sparkling water, I'm just sort of addicted to that shit now. Okay. Serving late, as the kids used to say from when I worked in this residential. If you burped late, they used to say, serving late. This is Mary Kretinchik and Mary Kretinchik, Mary Seatnick. This is a 1981 release. Ooh Prazalu, Mary Kretinchik, Mary Cetinnic. I believe a Croatian singer, and I believe this is kind of like pop music. It's world music. I'm a fan of this stuff. Just look how cool that cover is. I mean, I got it for 99 cents. You know, it's on the Yugoton label. This label right here, which is a great world music label out of Hungary. I've gotten many of an album on Yugoton, or whatever you want to call it, but not that. And this one I listened to, and this one was really a difficult listen. This is Zeko I Podicek, and I'm not even going to try to say the name of the album, but this is on the Croatian Records label. Once again, Croatian artist. I looked at the bunny, and I was hoping for strange sort of potentially avant-garde kind of world music. This is a kid's album, and it gets old quick. After about 3 songs and hearing kids singing along with this guy's voice, I was like, ah. But this might grow on me over time. Zeko I Podicek, and I'm probably just killing their names, off of the is it Croatia record label? Yeah, Croatia Records. Right there for Croatia Records. So that was $1 too. These next 4 were all like, I guess I don't have as many cassettes as I thought I had to show you. Probably have more CDs. Best of the Outlaws. These next ones are like just regular cassette, and I got some interesting packaged cassettes as well. But Outlaws, Greengrass, and High Tides, the best of. I've had this on CD multiple times. Probably since the 30s when I really started getting into the Outlaws. Tampa-based band, I want to believe. I know they're from Florida. I want to say they're Tampa-based, and they took like what was the best melodic sensibilities of like Marshall Tucker, I think, and the Allman Brothers, and added a oomph of Skinner muscle in it. And I think, to me, the Outlaws are one of the unsung heroes in Southern rock, and it's quite good in my opinion. This being on their Rista label, this one came out in what, 1996 this came out. I remember getting the CD at there you go, $2 for this. I remember getting the CD at like a Best Buy and listening to it a lot, and I got really hooked on that song Greengrass and High Tides, which is amazing. So kind of an underappreciated group in their own Southern rock genre. Like these guys, and I think like Henry Paul Band, are incredibly overlooked in this genre. It's a small genre of only a few bands, but I think those guys are really overlooked. Going back to 1988 or 89, I thought something interesting was happening. I think it was '88 this came out. I thought something was really interesting happening to punk bands that had been around for a while, established sort of pop punk bands or punk bands who had sort of changed their sounds. And this is, to me, is like a cousin, really, of the great Ramones album Brain Drain, which I love. I don't care what anybody says. I love that record, where they actually sort of took what was great about the Ramones and still had those pop punk tendencies, but added a bit of a college rock sound. And the same, I think, goes for this album too, by the Dickies. This is Second Coming. This is off the Enigma label. Definitely has a kind of college rock sound, a little heavier guitars, still silly as fuck, not quite as like pop punkish, almost borderline on fucking being power pop too. Still, there's those tendencies, but this is a really solid offering by the Dickies. So bring that up close so you can see it. Like I said, on the Enigma label, I'm not sure what year this came out, 1989. So I think there was something really interesting happening to these bands, even like Gangrene, who didn't go down the college rock rabbit hole, but kind of went more thrash as they got along. I really like that too. Like I don't know. I mean, I'm more a punk purist anyways, but I shouldn't say never, but it doesn't bother me that these bands switch their sounds a little bit. I'm totally fine with that. Okay. This is wonderful punk rock from, was I going to say Sweden or Belgium or Norway? Ah, God, I can't remember. European country. This is Kalashnikov solo record. This one was $4. The packaging, I'm going to show you on some of these, I think is absolutely fantastic. And so on this one, it actually has the recording because I've listened to it, Kalashnikov. But if you look, it says 20 Christmas favorites. If you look there, so bands were taping over cassettes, which I've done myself, and this is an example of economy more so than anything. But I don't know how many they pressed like this. There were 20 Christmas classics. They probably made a bunch of these. European-based fucking hardcore. This is really good. Like hardcore / punk music. This is, well, hardcore music, I should say. This is fucking tasty punk. My only problem with this is I think there's only like 7 or 8 songs on this, so it's pretty short. But you know, you get what you pay for when you see these kind of cassettes in the stores. So really good stuff. Kalashnikov, good, some tasty punk there. Here is Owl's Cry. Owl's Cry. Le Demon est venu de Lord is the name of the album. It's on Dead Medium Tapes. This one was $4 too. Black metal, depressive, nature. Well, I wouldn't say depressive. Nature-oriented, really. Well, depressive as far as like the sound of this. A little bit doomy, I would say too, but only in how slow this kind of moves a little bit, and then picks up speed later on. But this is some great black metal, and I keep wanting to think that this band is from New Hampshire, but I think they're from Wisconsin. I can't remember where Owls. I think they're from Wisconsin. Yeah, they are. Owl's Cry is from. But yeah, some really good black metal. No pretenses here. I bought it for the cover. That cover had me, I'll admit. Black metal covers, I mean, oftentimes I'll buy the black metal cover for the cover. The cover will strike me. And then, because I'm not like a very picky black metal snob, there's only a few black metal bands I could say I really don't like. But even those, like Cradle of Filth, I like songs by them. And I do like albums by Cradle of Filth. But Cradle of Filth is definitely not a band that I'm looking for, trying to chase their shit down. Okay, we're almost done. Well, with the cassettes. Satan Cheese. And This is Dietrich Kasranich Poladi, and this is on the Anti-Goth label. This is some tasty fucking death metal right here. Satan Cheese. The guy said they had some grind elements. There is a noise attack with this, but this is like almost like brutal death metal. It's fucking awesome. The vocals are fantastic on this. Absolutely fantastic. There's a rec. This one was $8, and this was the one when I asked the owner what he thought of Satan Cheese. And it's not Satan Christ, it's Satan Cheese. Satan C-H-I-S-T. Satan Cheese. This was recorded back to 1992. And I want to say, I forget where these guys are from. Maybe Norway, maybe, Polish band, I believe. Polish band. Sorry. Polish band, Satan Cheese. And this is some tasty, this is like right up there with my favorite thing I've gotten. And this is, like I said, I think an early demo, 1991 of this shit. I mean, it's just perfect for me. Wonderful. All right. So now we're going to get into some cassettes that I bought that have kind of this interesting thing to them, I guess. And the interesting thing is the way they're packaged. And I just like all these. I think there's only one of these I have not listened to yet. And so I can kind of describe what the rest of these sound like. And the packaging on this, from what the owner said of the store, was that all these are cool packaged. The owner of the store said that people just didn't have money for the cassettes, so they had to get creative. So here we got a baggie with a cassette single cover. Look at that cover, a printed cover. It looks like a cassette single. Drops into. Pretty cool. This is a split between two noise artists. One is Hiroshi Hasegawa, who was in some bands. I know he was in a noise band called Cosmic Conscience. I think they had psychedelic kind of effects to them. And the other one is this wonderful noise artist named Dromez. Her real name is Lisa Gomez, and I think she's from Ohio, from Dayton. So I listened to these. I gotta admit, I kind of like the Dromez better than the Hasegawa stuff. It's noise music. Hasegawa is kind of power electronics, pretty cool stuff. Dromez is a little bit more like sound collage. What she does on here is awesome. She actually covers Creep by Radiohead by playing it and then playing a very loud, distorted kind of noise, drony noise over it where she's singing. And the song's called Creeps. But you can't really hear what she's singing. It's very muffled. And I gotta admit, I was kind of down with that. This is a collaboration from two different cassettes, Slave Unit tapes, and I also love the other one, Slut tapes. That's why when I put these videos together and I have to upload them, I always say not for children. Well, not that slut is the worst word in the fucking world, but you know. But this is like the packagings on these are cool. Look at that packaging on this. I like it. I mean, that one was, I think this one was $4. I do go crazy and spend like $50, $60 on cassettes in the store because they're usually awesome shit. This is a noise band out of Orlando, Florida called Alien Witch, and this is absolutely fantastic. Adding elements of their noise attack, adding elements of, dare I say, dance-ish kind of industrial, and just pulsating, harsh electronic stuff in this. And this is absolutely wonderful. I listened to this and was like cheering in my mind. I'm like, you guys did good here. I think the name of this cassette is, if I can get it back in, God, I feel like feels like the first time that I put a cassette in. Oh God. And I think the name of the album, Aphrodisiomania. And inside of this, I gotta just be careful. I got so much shit to show you yet. I haven't even gotten to the, look at that shit right there. Pretty cool, huh? So, yeah, good stuff. I still got a lot more to show you, and I gotta get moving on time. We're almost at 25 minutes, and I haven't gotten to the CDs yet, so I gotta get moving. This I love. This is Dead Moss on the Die Rot label, and the name of the album, I guess, is Bare Character, I think, or unless that's the name of a split between the two different labels. If I would know, because it doesn't really fucking explain it to you. But what the fuck, whatever. Yeah, 2011. This is some tasty crust hardcore. Really good hardcore dbeat shit right here. Dead Moss. I was expecting it to be. There's the cover of the record. I was expecting it to be something different, but I thought I was thinking noise or whatever. But I'll take some hardcore crust along the way. You know, I'll take some of that shit. All right, let's get moving. This is Ashes to Dust, and I think this is in that noisy sort of dbeat crust stuff too, with some industrial elements thrown in. Like, I don't know, Discharge meets Godflesh, maybe something in that vein. I think Ashes to Dust, really noisy, very harsh sounding. Once again, the packaging is fantastic on this, and I will take my time with this because I'm going to fly through those CDs. I mean, fly through them. I just kind of like this. I really, really like the packaging on this shit. There's not much there, but I think it's cool as hell. So, band is Ashes to Dust, or Ash to Dust. Sorry, not Ashes to Dust. Ash to Dust. And I'm not sure what the name of the EP is, or the album is. It didn't really say what it was. This one was $6. Yeah, like I said, most of these are gold. I've never really bought one of these cassettes from him that I thought sucked. So, Ash to Dust. All right, 3 big cassettes left, and I think these are so interesting to do I just think these were interesting pickups. This is a band called Street Meat, and this is Show Me Your Work. And so this is on the Fuck 51 label, F-U-C-K, or F-U-C 51. And here's the cassettes that are cool as fuck. So my guess on this was right away was going to be this was going to be industrial or noisy industrial experimental. And there's a band called Street Meat, and I mean meat being M-E-A-T, Street Meat, from Canada, same spelling, that are busker, like they got a cello, and like it's kind of busking music. It's kind of like gypsy kind of rock, I guess. Not in the same vein as like a Go-Go Bordello, but there's a band called Street Meat there. But there's also a bunch of bands called Street Meat, and this one I believe is more in the electronic synth punk era of stuff. I couldn't find out anything about it other than that's what it said, and that was another Canadian band. And so I'm taking it that's what this is. I don't know, but I love the packaging on this. The songs on and the songs are like Show Me Your Work, Knowing When to Take Control, Use the Whip, Mothers on MDA. Yeah, I kind of like this. Before He Became an Aryan. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I mean, kind of to me, it sounds like definitely in that vein of you know, of that kind of noise electronic. Milwaukee, or not Milwaukee, but Wisconsin's own legendary Bereft, and this is got, I think almost like 2 albums on it, or 2 EPs. First Degree of Separation and Removed from Security. Best way to describe this would be what they call, it's black metal, but it's also described as post metal. And so there's doomy sort of atmospheric landscapes in it. And so I guess post metal might be the best way to describe these guys, but I've also heard them be described as black metal. But they've been around for a while, bereft. I think one of the members of the band passed away. I'm not sure if they're together right now. But this was a steal for $9. This is on Denver State Records. And there is like 2 full-length CDs of this. I'm not really into post-metal per se, but some of this does hit a thing, you know, every now and then. And I don't hate it or anything. So this might be really good. So bereft. First Degree of Separation / Removed from Security. So last cassette I'm going to show you before we get to the CDs. This one was a total impulse buy. It's not a music cassette, it's an audio book that's got 4 cassettes to it, over 6 hours long. Brief History of Time, Stephen Hawkins. I threw it in anyways. This was $10. This was a total impulse buy. My brother had been talking about this book lately and how hard it is to read. The fucking movie is fantastic. I think Errol Morris directed the movie, very bizarre. And so I guess I kind of, you know, was thinking some Stephen Hawking and some hard science will fill up my ears at some point. 6 hours long. This is read by a guy named Michael Jackson. Not that guy. This guy. Look at this putz. Not that Michael. That he was pretty bad. I guess he had his own talk show on called The Michael Jackson Show, which won a lot of Emmys. This is from Dove Books, going back to 1988, I believe. And yeah, Brief History of Time. Here's the cassettes right there. More right here. 4 cassettes in book. These cassettes are about 45 minutes each. I don't know when I'm going to listen to these, to be honest. It's going to be kind of interesting. That's what the cassette looks like. But yeah. So, yeah. I've just shown you nothing but cassettes. And I love cassettes. I love cassette. Everything about cassettes is awesome. But we must move on to the CDs before I can even touch the albums. I'm going to try to go through these as fast as possible. I'm going to start out and show a few CD singles, and then we're going to get into the CD records. First one, and they had a bunch of these here by Britpop legends, Britpop legends Blur, and this is Tender, the single Tender. This was 99 cents. It was a no-brainer for me. They had a bunch of Blur stuff there. I should have picked them all up. I mean, I really should have. Let's see. Oh, Christ. Okay. Blue Tender. So it's a single. I think these guys are kind of fun. I like that one song they did. I think it was called 200%. That really, that song. I think that's what it's called. I kind of like the fact this band's got like a sense of humor to them. So yeah, Blur, and the single is Tender. And I don't know what album it's from or anything like that. But you know what? For 50 cents and or $1, these were all $1. Meatloaf, I will do anything for love, but I won't do that. A huge #1 hit for him in 1991. This is got the album version, the live version, the unplugged version, and the edited version, which sucks. Why don't they have the extended version on here? The 8-minute version of this song, I don't know. And the other side is Rock and Roll Dreams Come Through, which was originally written and originally sung by Jim Steinman, who made Jim Steinman had a few albums, and he had one in the early 80s, I think called Bad for Good. No? Yeah, I think it's called Bad for Good, or is that a Meatloaf album? Well, he had an album from the early 80s and it had Rock and Roll Dreams Come Through on it, which was actually a radio hit in the fall of 1981. Yes, I'm that precise when it comes to that kind of shit. Um, yeah. All right, let's move it. Sons of the Pioneers featuring Roy Rogers. Why not? Oh, it's old country. That's right. Roy Rogers sang with Sons of the Pioneers, and this is one of my favorite country singing groups. Their harmonies are fucking amazing. Can't go wrong with that. Uh, Old time country music. It's got Tumbling Tumbleweeds on here. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, Cool Water. Um, yeah, classic stuff by Sons of the Pioneers. One of the great country cowboy singing groups of their time. We're talking about what, 30s, 40s, maybe? That 30s, 40s, 50s? Bananarama with True Confessions. This is going to start a little bit of a discussion about Bananarama producers on here that we're going to talk about quite a bit. That produce, I think they produced most of the tracks on here, or some of the, yeah, I think most of the tracks on here was the team of Stock, Atkin, and Waterman. Stock, Atkin, and Waterman, and they were producers, and they were very important in the mid to late 80s in producing quality pop songs that had a bit of a maybe overproduced elements for sure, but they had a bit of sort of like a dance-ish quality, and some of it going into disco. And they were really, really important to keep that dance thing going after, like, you know, the big guy would be Jelly Bean Benitez and getting Madonna's career off the ground. And then disco never really died with these guys, Stock, Atkin, and Waterman. And they brought it back to life with Rick Astley and Donna Summer. But they also produced Bananarama and Dead or Alive as well. And this album was kind of into that dance pop territory. The sort of new wave tendency, some of that, you know, like reggae or whatever they were into, is not so much present on this record. It has the #1 hit on here, Venus, which I love. So dance pop territory for Bananarama. Good stuff. I mean, this is a good record. 1986 it came out. And Stock, Atkin, and Waterman come back for 1986's Bad, Mad, and Dangerous to Know by Dead or Alive. I think this is a terrific record from them. Their first album, Youthquake, is way more just straight up synth dance pop. This has those elements, but it's definitely a little bit more of a mature record. And this is kind of the, I think, when these guys were on top of their games, I'm not even going to say the name, Waterman and the boys, I'll just call them that, they delivered terrifically sounding and well done pop music that just had dance disco beats to it. And this had Dead or Alive's second big hit, Brand New Lover, which was a great song. Definitely dance heavy stuff on this, with some kind of serene moments too, and not as harshly, like, I wouldn't say harsh, but not as like synth electronic heavy. This is more emphasis on dance, and it works out perfectly. Peter Burns often got in trouble for imitating Boy George. I don't think he looks anything like Boy George there. I don't think so, but and of course passed away. But yeah, I think he looks more like that guy from Doc and the Medics a little bit, or some goth guy, but whatever. But this is terrific dance pop music too, so we gotta get rolling. Giving you the best I got in Nita Baker. I've been kind of on a roll with her lately. This is her second album. A singer who really is a jazz singer by heart, but there's such pop and soul tendencies in her music that it sort of pushes her in those directions as well. She really could just be a jazz singer and it would be perfectly fine. But there's a soulfulness to her approach and in the music, and there's definitely some pop like melodies in there as well. And this has her big hit, Giving You the Best I Got, on it. The follow-up to Rapture, which is a terrific album. So yeah, kind of more of the same. There's really on this album, I would say there's more of an assuredness and a relaxed nature on this album, I think, than maybe even Rapture. But it's good stuff. I've been on a kick with her lately for some reason. Escape Club, Wild Wild West. This is terrific. Their first album, and I feel like this band doesn't get the lion's share of credit for being a terrific dance pop rock group. Yeah, I mean, they're kind of, for all intents and purposes, a one-hit wonder, although they did have a follow-up from their big hit Wild Wild West, a song called Shake for the Chic, which is great too. This album's got a lot of good deep cuts on it. In the same vein as like Cutting Crew does, or Johnny Hates Jazz, that there was more to them than just those few singles. Curiosity Killed the Cat, another great band. And they're all like in that pop world more so than maybe the dance pop world, I should say. Although I think Escape Club definitely had the dance elements in it. A few really good songs on here: Working for the Fat Man, Who Do You Love, Staring at the Sun, The Wonderful Walking Through the Walls. This is high quality pop rock with some dance elements in it, and often misunderstood or I feel like as in what this band was, and that's just a shame, but that's just how it goes. So Escape Club, Wild Wild West. I gotta go through these fast. 1989 and Legacy by Poco. All the original members are back. High processed, high quality. It is highly processed, kind of pop rock music from the late 80s. Big hit on here, Call It Love. So yeah, you got Randy Meisner, Rusty Young, Jim Messina, back in track, and some of the other guys too. George Grantham, Richie Furay, and actually pretty. I don't think Poco ever made like that I've heard like a horrible record. And this might be for some people like the worst thing they did, but I like Poco. I like this kind of music. So Kentucky Headhunters, I've had this multiple times. Picking on Nashville, 1989 release. This is wonderful. I guess you would consider these guys like progressive country. It's a country band who wants to be a rock and roll band, you know, but they can't get that country roots out of them, you know. That's kind of the wonderful thing about Kentucky Headhunters. I think they only made a few records, and then they might have gotten back together and made more records down the road. But their original run, I think they only made a few records. And this one is great. It's got the first song on here is a Bill Monroe song, Walk Softly on This Heart of Mine. The big hit on here is Dumas Walker. Really catchy, really fun stuff. There are bands like the Tractors and Junior Brown and all kinds of cool artists making kind of interesting rock-fueled country music. And yeah, I think fucking Kentucky Headhunters were great. Great at doing that. So it makes me smile just because, like, just the memory of I worked at this factory and I was horrible. I mean, horrible. I'm gonna put this other pillow behind me just because I'm so little uncomfortable. I was horrible at this job, and the only cassettes I had with me on a regular were the Beatles' White Album, Black Crow Shake Your Money Maker, and then that Kentucky Headhunters. And I remember listening to those cassettes like over and over again. I worked at this factory for about a month and they fired me because my productivity sucked. Well, I went on to go to school and I got my master's degree and shit. And I was like, I knew at an early age that like that kind of job I was not going to last at because my mind doesn't work when it comes to speed. So that's not really my thing. Let's get these done. Graham Parker's Burning Question, 1991 release. I got a lot of these records from 91, 92. Introspective, shimmering sort of pop rock from Graham Parker. Yeah, I don't know if I got any more to say about it. He made some cool records in the 80s and 90s, but I consider this kind of more in that like Marshall Crenshaw kind of thing. Some of it being a little overproduced, you know, but wonderful at the same time. So, yeah. I don't got a lot of time. Oh, this is great. Bel Canto with, what is this? Shimmering, Warm, and Bright, 1991 release. Dream, ethereal pop. More so, like this has got more like a dreamy sensibility than like the Cocteau Twins. And I would say there's some similarities between Bel Canto and them. Definitely not as musically, I think, as adventurous as the Cocteau Twins were. And that's not a dig on them. This band was kind of more dream pop to me. Maybe some shoegaze elements in there as well. But fine stuff. This was a steal for $1. Bel Canto, good stuff. Little Ain't Enough. David Lee Roth had this multiple times. Have it again. Jason Becker's shredding on this. This is a good album where David Lee Roth I feel like he's got nothing to lose. The 90s are coming around. He, at this point, with Van Halen way behind him, I feel like he had nothing to lose to make a straight rock record. And that's what this is. I mean, it's got some silly stuff on here, but this to me is like one of his finest efforts. There's no real like sense to me of like him trying to parodize himself or him trying to do a novelty kind of kooky thing. I mean, Sensible Shoes is kind of like, and the Dogtown Shuffle are kind of like that, but most of this is straight up fucking like good rock. Songs like Hammerhead Shark, Lady Luck, Baby's on Fire. This is a good straight up hard rock record by David Lee Roth. Kind of, don't sleep on this one if you haven't heard this one. It's solid, for sure. Soundtrack of Italian movies, and there's 4 different movies here, and songs from each of the movies. I thought this was cool. Italian soundtrack stuff. Released in 1991, the movies are El Portaborse, Trace di Vita Amorosa, Dicembre, and Caldo Soffocante. So all these different movies, music excerpts, music scores, not the total scores, but just probably some of the scores, highlights, of the soundtrack. So I think this is a ballsy album by U2, Achtung Baby. When this came out, I had left the U2 train probably after Rattle and Hum. And so when this came out, it was interesting, and they were huge at this point. And so this was kind of a big deal when it came out, and I was certainly kind of annoyed by it at first with Mysterious Ways, and I think there was another song on here. I can't remember what it was. I think One. Is it One, Even Better Than the Real Thing? Until the End of the World. I think Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horses, I think were the songs on here. But yeah, when this came out, I was just like, yeah, but upon further listening to this, it's actually a pretty interesting record that really kind of changed where they were going career-wise, and where they're going down the road. And that is kind of doing electronic music, mixing it with sort of like arena rock tendencies, but not with all the politicking in it. And I just thought they had an interesting era in the 90s with albums like Pop and Zooropa, and I find it actually probably in some ways better than the stuff they did in the 80s, with an exception of like Joshua Tree and War. I feel like those two being locks is great records. I feel like their 90s stuff was way more adventurous, way more interesting in a way. Fountains of Wayne, first album, 1996. Power pop was not dead in the 90s. It came back hard with bands like Jellyfish, Material Issue, and this being Fountains of Wayne's first album. Very hooky, very catchy, power pop. 1996 this came out. Yeah, I ain't got nothing to say about this. That's good power pop. Real infectious, lots of hooks, good stuff. Super Suckers became the greatest rock and roll band in the world. Another album by the Super Suckers on Sub Pop. I thought maybe this might be a compilation, but it is not. I think it's just a studio album, and I'm not sure when this came out. They made so many albums. They got like that a little bit of a cow punk, country punk into like a punk attack, and I feel like Super Suckers, like Reverend Horton Heat, had been around for a long time, and yeah, solid for what they do. I mean, nothing wrong with the Super Suckers. Future is Tomorrow. Fit to Die, the name of the album by the band Future is Tomorrow. When did this come out? 2000s, early 2000s maybe? 2003 maybe? After come out 2006, sorry. Progressive, sort of extreme metal. I don't know what you would call this. It's not like Iced Earth, but it's not amorphous either. I'm not sure because I barely remember Future is Tomorrow. I don't know what they sounded like. I thought there were some progressive tendencies, but it's like more extreme metal, like heavier from what I can remember. So we're almost done. This is PG Lost with In Never Out. PG Lost. I like the cover. Experimental, sort of post-metal, I guess from what I can remember what they are. Like, they're definitely metal, but like on that where there's post-punk and gothic rock and all that shit in there. Yeah. I don't know. It's good stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't got much to say. This is a metalcore band who I actually kind of like. Transistor. The album is Wolves. Well, EP is Wolves. I'm not really big into this. This has got a real metalcore, but that's what they've been described, Transistor. But this has got like a frenetic pace to it, and it's got sort of a kind of like this interesting sort of almost post-punk drive to it, you know, like really rhythmic, and I find that kind of interesting. But this band definitely, for a little while, Transistor had a huge following. So these have a bunch of different artists on them, and this is the band Austerity, and once again, I think this is in that sort of blackened, sort of post-metal kind of thing too. I think pretty noisy at times, very harsh at times, but austere and mellow. I think I believe Austerity is. So, and last CD, because I want to get through these. I got to show you the albums yet. It's getting late already. It's already at 52 minutes. 4 CDs by a bunch of different bands. This one is a funeral doom band called Macabre, and the album is In Richamo del Hombre. Funeral Doom from Macabre. I thought this was pretty good. Russian groups here, the Sullen Rout, with Apocalyptic Clinic, and End of Night here. And this too is kind of like in that post-metal thing. This is a pretty heavy though. It's pretty heavy. Some doom riffs, some death metal kind of stuff going on in it. Both of them are pretty good. End of Night. Both from Russia. And then this one, Starkitect. Stupid name for a group, if you ask me. And I really can't remember anything about them. I think this has got some progressive tendencies to like kind of a metal thing going on. I don't know, Starkitect. And that's it for the CDs. I kind of had to scram through those. I got a lot of albums to show you, and I got to go through those fast. As usual, I'm trying to be done with this within a fucking hour, and that ain't gonna happen. So. All right, here's the albums. Quite a few to show you. Look at all these albums. I'm gonna have to go through these real fast. Next to Hungary's Béla Bartók, Zoltán Kodály was one of the more preeminent posers from Hungary, and he had worked with Béla Bartók. And this is Quartet Number 1, Opus 2, the Raw String Quartet, known for being really kind of trying to bring folk music folk music being, you know, elements of folk and nature into Hungary's or into classical music. That's kind of what he's known for. He also has an avant-garde tendencies too. I mean, he had to if he was buddies with Bartok. I love this print on this. Love it. So, yeah. Quartet number 1, Opus 2. And performed by the Roth Quartet. So it's going to be some tasty string quartet music. Deja Vu, Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young. I'm not really going to talk about this. One of rock's greatest albums. I would say that's true. This is a absolute wonderful. Is it in the top 5? No, but I mean, this is a solid record by them. I think the finest record that these guys made, even with Crosby, Stills and Nash. This is this fucking great record. It's got Our House on it, and God, what else is on here? Carry On, Teach Your Children, the wonderful David Crosby song, Almost Cut My Hair, Helpless, the wonderful Rock and Woodstock. Deja Vu's a terrific track that's on here, Country Girl by Neil Young. Everybody, I Love You, another Stills and even Young, actually, a Stephen Stills Neil Young collaboration. So songwriting goes. Not in the best shape, but for $1, I'll move this. I mean, I bought this strictly to sell, so these first handful are going to be $1. This is interesting. This is the soundtrack to Dustin Hoffman's movie Lenny, where he plays Lenny Bruce. So he does a lot of monologue in this. So this has got some of the classic Lenny Bruce monologue interpreted by Dustin Hoffman, with the score on here by Ralph Burns, long-standing music composer Ralph Burns. So I'm a sucker for soundtracks. I kind of want to see this movie a lot. Lenny Bruce is really funny. So a few by Paul Williams, The Shortest Man in Music. This is Classics, 1977, kind of a greatest hits compilation. And then one of his earlier albums, An Old-Fashioned Love Song. And so Paul Williams is so interesting because, like, he's the king of writing some great pop hooks and some memorable pop songs, like An Old-Fashioned Love Song on here. And We've Only Just Begun. And what else did he do? Evergreen. I think he wrote Evergreen, but that's not on here. But he does do a few of his songs on here. He's trying so hard to become his own artist, and that's the interesting thing about Paul Williams, was he was an artist, but he was so settled down as being like a celebrity. He used to be on like all the game shows and shit like that. He was all over television. I shouldn't say on the game shows, but he was on TV a lot in the 70s. He was like a celebrity, and he was also known as being a great singer-songwriter, more a songwriter than a singer, but he holds his own, like, vocally, and this is an interesting record of early 70s singer-songwriter pop music. I guess you would even canonize it as being, like, kind of easy listening. Bob Dylan's Slow Train Coming, beginning of his Christian track with this in Saved. I love this album. Kind of bluesy, and it's interesting in parts, bluesy and gospel-y. It's interesting in this because he's actually preaching to people, telling people what they should think. Unbelievable, because Bob Dylan is a master of riddles and mysteries, and here he's coming out saying you've got to serve somebody. Like, what the fuck? Really? You're telling me what to do, Bob? You can't even tell yourself what to do, because you. But it doesn't bother me that he preaches a little bit. It makes it interesting that for so long, and especially this is probably his best record since Blood on the Tracks, because it's the most directly impactful record. Desire is a strange record, a solid record, but definitely strange. And so this is kind of a nice comeback that makes you think Bob Dylan still has some feelings about stuff. So it's, Desire is a strange fucking record. I love it, but it is weird. Yentl, Barbra Streisand. Why'd I get that? I'll sell this. That's why. We'll sell this fucking record. I sold it last time I had it. I'll sell it again. Her directing her own movie and performing songs from the movie Yentl, which she directed, and I think she co-wrote the script, and she also sings all the songs from the movie, I believe. So soundtrack music, the big hit on here, The Way He Makes Me Feel. Interesting that Barbra Streisand kind of went down the filmmaker route and decided to do something like this. Very ballsy for 1983. And she kind of she was still a big star, but like as far as like making the big hits, that was fucking over. That was, by then she was not going to have any more big hits, and she didn't have any big hits after this. She still sold the fuck well, especially a few years after this was the blockbuster album, the Broadway album, which she fucking cleared that album with sales, but still a big star, but not kind of focusing more on the film acting and the filmmaking stuff in the 80s, especially at this point. There's some interesting elements on here. I feel like she's got avant-garde in her. I know that sounds crazy, but I really do think she's kind of an interesting artist that could have done something really, really interesting. I never quite did, but I feel like there's something about her that, I mean, I wish I could produce an album for her. I would make it crazy. This is Ur George, and this is Enough Respect. He is a calypso musician, and this is early 90s. This came out with 3 songs on here. So calypso dance music from the early 90s might be interesting. His name is Iwer, I-W-E-R, Iwer George. I told you I'm not done with the Outlaws. Green Grass and High Tides Forever. And that's on here. Their very first album from 1975. Great record by them. There's a real nice sense of like musical diversity on this. The songs are kind of like, some are really melancholic and filled with like kind of really, really good harmonizing. And there's other songs in here that are straight up rock and roll. Like the first song in here, There Goes Another Love Song. That kind of encapsulates how great the Outlaws were with adding these melodies and with a straight line sort of kind of catchy attack at times. They got heavy. And they went in the early 80s, Ghost Riders in the Sky, that album, and Playing to Win, much heavier. But this earlier stuff, a little bit of taking of the best of Marshall Tucker and Allman Brothers and Leonard Skinner and kind of making it and concocting it into their own thing. So, Foreigner, Double Vision. Yeah, these are dollar, guys, so I'm going to just show them real quick. Their second album, lots of hooks on here. This is where I was telling my brother where I think this band became musical, like overnight, where there's some really good musicality on this record that kind of gets forgotten about because they were such an arena band. But the instrumental on here, Tramontane, is absolutely wonderful. And songs like Love Has Taken Its Toll and Spellbinder show a real deft and musical touch. And of course, songs like Blue Morning, Blue Day, very melodic, hot-blooded, the wonderful Double Vision. A great second record by Foreigner. I've had this multiple times. I don't need to get into it. The second record by Joe Jackson, I'm the Man. Kind of getting away a little bit from the new wave of Look Sharp, and this is almost like, to me, poppy at times, rocking at times, and just Joe Jackson kind of playing around a little bit and coming up with a really good rock record. I mean, it's still got the sort of, I guess, new wave hooks. But the song on here, fucking I'm the Man, the title track, is wonderful. That's really hard rocking. But songs like Kinda Cute and Geraldine and John are terrific tracks on here too. I'm gonna roll. Who? It's hard? Yeah, it is hard. It's really hard. Their second to last album, a much better album than I think people give it credit for. There's some great tracks on here. Big hit, Athena, the follow-up song, one of the Who's best songs in my opinion. Eminence Front. There's some great songs in here. I've Known No War, Cry If You Want, Why Did I Fall For That, Man Is a Man, One at a Time. There's some great deep tracks on here. They're definitely adding elements of with the keyboards as they were on Face Dances, and that hasn't stopped here. But there's something very rhythmic and tribal about this album that I really like. And it's got this almost like Cold War sort of shenanigans in it. So the Who are wonderful. It's hard. I've probably shown that album before. Hazy Fantasy. Battle hymns for children singing. Yeah, that's right. This group is so fucking goofy. They had. I was gonna say I thought this band had the song "I Eat Cannibals," but that's Total Kaolo, and that's goofy too. I'm not sure how to describe this group. There's elements of like fucking reggae music in here, but it's super goofy and dancey and catchy pop music too. Thrown in what would be called new wave. This group is incredibly goofy and almost like to the point of being silly. But Hazy Fantasy is really interesting. Songs like John Wayne is Big Leggy. I Lost My Dodie. I think Shiny Shiny was another hit of theirs. I think this is kind of infectious, but it's like, how serious do you want to take this stuff? I mean, I think if you just take it at face value, you could find some wonderful stuff with this group, some hidden gems in this group, Hazy Fantasy. I mean, it's really goofy. Rod Stewart in Camouflage, album where Jeff Beck plays on it, at least a few songs. The guitar really grinds on some of these songs, including his cover of All Right Now, and the old Paul Rogers free song All Right Now. He does a cover or does a remake of a song he wrote back in the 70s, I believe. Some Guys Have All Luck, which was a big hit, and the wonderful sleazy and overproduced Infatuation. I think this album is great. It's got that AOR overproduced 80s sound. It's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Roger's Return, John Waite. Rover's Return, 1987. Not sure where he's at. He's in no man's land. He had a big hit on here. These Times Are Hard for Lovers, but this album is the beginning of what is a nice, needed break for him. He gets together with Neil Schon, I believe, or is it Jonathan Cain? Yeah, Jonathan Cain, not Neil Schon, to form the band Bad English, and that was a much needed shot in the arm for him, as his career was kind of flailing at this point in 1987. So just a few years later, he'd have a big hit, When I See You Smile, with Bad English. I think this album's okay. I mean, I definitely don't have a problem with it, but it's John Waite. I mean, it was $1. I'm not going to complain. Almost done with the dollar records, and then we're going to get into the other ones. Joe Ely, terrific band member from the legendary group Flatlanders, doing some kind of country rockin', kind of rockabilly from the 80s. And with that cover, you would think, oh God, is he getting sense? No sense needed here, my friends. This album is high res, or high res, R-E-S, high res. And it's good. It's good. Yeah. I mean, the mistake is, oh, he's going to put keyboards on here. He does not do that. This is akin to something the Blasters would do, to be honest. Very good. Really up-tempo. Does have a bit of a twang in it, but that was Joe Ely's bread and butter, you know. And it's funny because he was so irreverent when he came out, especially his first few albums. He's now, he became one of Texas's elder statesmen, you know. With doing that kind of music. This is the band Less Variations. The album is Café de Paris, or de Paris. I've had this multiple times. I'm not sure how you would describe these guys as pop rock. It feels a little bit like it's got like a avant-garde feel to it. Some of the songs are kind of arty. I'm not sure how you describe it. I've had this multiple times. And maybe a little proggy too. I'm not, you know, this is a band that, just like so many bands, it's hard to pigeonhole them and just say, oh, it's this on the Buddha label. But the band Less Variations it's pretty good. I really like this. I've had it before, and I've sold it, and I'll sell it again. This one was $4. So now we're creeping out of there because I got to get done pretty soon here. Atomic Force with Take Action. I couldn't find anything out about this band. I think They're from Antigua, maybe, and island band. And I'm praying that there's some like hip hop funk stuff going on in this, maybe mixed with reggae. I'm not sure, or some sort of island music. But I'm hoping it's got like a, like a good, maybe some. I might be stretching, but I'm hoping for some Grandmaster Flash. I doubt it, but we'll see. It's $5. I had to take the chance on it. Look at these dudes. They look like they're like soul hip hop, but I'm sure this has got whatever that island music. I don't know what that would be, reggae or calypso or whatever. I'm taking a chance. This came out in 1991, and these guys look like they're from the fucking 80s. So, Atomic Force with Take Action. Frankie Boland. This one was $9. We're getting close to being done, guys. This is Papillon Noir. Papillon Noir. Interesting with woodwinds and strings. He's an easy listening piano player in Frankie Boland, and I was trying to remember where he's from. He's a European guy, and my feeling would have been like he's from France, but he is not from France. So, but I can't remember where he's from. This is a 1975 release. He was really influenced by Duke Ellington, and sort of you can tell, because like Duke Ellington, who had some like really interesting variations in like tonality and in how he was setting the arrangements. Like this guy is easy listening, jazz, but it is so interesting sounding. The arrangements are so broad and grand in a way, and then go real tight, that because the arrangements switch up so much, it's almost like it's avant-garde. And I would not be wrong in calling this avant-garde. Easy listening classical jazz music. Yeah, it's jazz music, but it's also like easy listening, I guess. I think of Billy Evans. He made an album that I consider kind of more avant-garde too, with Tony Bennett. That album's fucking insane. It's so good, but it feels so atonal. This is just super good, really fucking good for $9. I was happy to get this. So Francie Boland with Papillon Noir. With the wood wings and strings, I should be scared, but I wasn't. I took it. Okay, 3 left, and these are all metal. This one comes from a demo that was released in 1987, the 4th demo by the German death grindcore band Blood. And this is Heinous Noise. So, I gotta pull this back. So, Heinous Noise, making Heinous Noise. 16 tracks on here on the Nuclear War Now label. I'm not gonna pull this out, I just don't have time. Wonderful stuff. If you like, it is more, probably like to me, there's noise elements, that's where the grind comes from, but it's death metal, death with grind. Wonderful stuff by the band Blood. They say legendary, and I'm like, I've never heard of them, but that doesn't mean anything. Here's I think, a legendary, awesome band. And this band pulls no punches. Their very first album, Relapse, reissued it. Cryptic Slaughter. I love this band, Convicted. So, Cryptic Slaughter, I would say, is a hardcore band, but they're so fast that there's speed metal elements into it, and I think they added elements later on. They kind of crossed over and added thrash elements, almost even death metal elements. This is a fucking wonderful California-based band. It's hardcore, but it is super fast. I mean, this is like lightning fast. The tempos are insanely fast. But so, I mean, obviously the hardcore's there with the 1, 2, 3 beat, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, that, and it's just lightning fucking fast. It's so fucking great. This being their first album, yeah, and so this is more in that hardcore / like, I'm gonna throw in like speed metal. It is like some of the fastest fucking shit I've heard. And I'm gonna show you this one because it's worth showing you. Cryptic Slaughter, I fucking love these guys. I'm always talking to people about these guys, how fucking awesome they are. Here's the insert, the band right there, and then the lyrics. I mean, I am fucking in LOVE, I mean love with this band. And look at that nice purple splatter. Yeah, this one was $24, and I would have spent $30 on it because I love Cryptic Slaughter. And I'm gonna be honest, I just got into these guys. Like so many metal bands from the '80s, I'm playing catch up, and this is one of my favorite fucking bands from that time. I mean, they're fucking awesome. I mean, it's so fast. I mean, like lightning fast. Yeah, there's some political stuff, but I mean, you know, not surprising. Not surprising at all. Here's a picture of the band in the back. I'll show you real quick. I mean, holy fuck, is this fast? I think this is almost more impressive than the grindcore stuff that Napalm Death was doing, because they consistently keep it up, where Napalm Death's fast for 8 seconds, you know, till I'd say from enslavement to obliteration is the beginning of that, like where the speed is more consistent, I think, than on the first album, The Wonderful Scum. Yeah, different, obviously. And the last thing I'm going to show you on this one is fucking awesome. I didn't realize Back on Black was fucking reissuing like old fucking not grindcore, but dbeat crust music from legends from the England, Disgust and Brutality of War. Look at that cover. Look at that fucking shit right there. That's Death Dudes. Legendary band from England. I'll say this band is legendary next to Cryptic Slaughter. Fucking awesome dbeat crust. The fucking vocals on this are so emphatic, and usually you get the one where like the guy's like almost like shouting like through a brick wall or something like that, or he had his head so many times that like he fucking is like like this guy's got a little bit more strength in his voice, and so it's not as shouty as much as it's like pummeling, you know what I mean? This is wonderful grindcore, not grindcore, sorry, dbeat crust music from the early 90s. And Back on Black reissued this. Yeah, this is fucking great. And that is it. An hour and 17 minutes later is my norm. I am done. Coming up, I'm going to have a Tampa / local record haul. I'm going to have finally, I think next week I'm going to show my English haul, which is going to be fucking phenomenal. Can't wait to do that. Lots of CDs, lots of records as a one-offer. And then I picked up some stuff from my local record store, plus whatever I'll get in Tampa. So the next 2 weeks, there's going to be 2 more videos uploaded. Like I said, I appreciate you guys keeping with me all this time. For some of you that watch this, I know these are long videos. I get it. I'm not changing it at this point in time. I just I shoot what I like, which are long videos that show lots of shit. Those are the videos I want to see, so I'm creating the videos I want to see. It's pretty much like that. All right, so thank you guys for watching, and I will see you soon. See me next week for the English British haul. I love to just throw them all together, you know, but that isn't going to happen. So there's going to be at least 2 more videos, and then that's going to be it for a little bit. I mean, I am going to be making probably another Tampa run outside of this Friday, probably in March or April. Record Store Day, I'll have one. In May or June, I'm going to England, so I'll have another update for you then. But so lots of videos coming up. Maybe a DVD, VHS, Blu-ray haul either in April or in May for sure, because those videos seem to be doing okay. All right, I've talked long enough. I'll see you guys later. Bye.